Hello. In the last couple of videos in this series, we looked at some of the reasons why anxiety may develop in children with an additional need. This one will look at another reason. It's all about how routines, change and transitions can be a cause of real anxiety and distress for many of our children. In previous videos, we've talked about how anxiety can cause very extreme behaviour in our children. And one of the causes of this anxiety can be when things change or one activity has to finish so another one can start. We've also already looked at how our children may feel fearful and unsafe in the world around them due to differences in the way they can perceive sensory input. Whenever we feel unsafe or frightened, even those of us who are neurotypical adults, we do whatever we can that might make us feel safer. One of the most effective ways in which we can do this is in seeking to control as much of our environment as we possibly can. We've probably all come across people who we regard as control freaks in our adult life. If you were to look at them more closely, you could well find that they're actually deeply insecure and frightened individuals doing whatever they can to make the world seem less scary to themselves. For our children too, they often seek to control their immediate environment and the people in it. However, it also means that they feel much more in control and more safe if they know exactly what's likely to happen and when. That's why routines can be so important to some of our children and why they adhere rigidly to some rituals around routines sometimes. So when a plan is suddenly changed or when a routine becomes interrupted, it can seem huge and very distressing indeed to many of our children. It can help them to feel safer if we can give them as much information as possible about what will be happening and when, and do whatever we can to stick to what we've told them. Visual timetables can be a great help too, and it can help a child feel safer and more secure to see a visual representation of what will be happening and when. Now, next and later boards can also be very helpful for some children. Although if they have demand avoidance traits, sometimes that's too much to deal with. So instead you can make a much more simple now and next board with just two things on it. When the world is unchanged, it feels more in control and much less frightening. That's why many of our children resist change. What to us might be a huge, great surprise and lots of fun may seem terrifying to a child who depends on unchanged normality to feel okay in themselves. Calm sameness is often what they really want so that they can feel safe. Too many sudden changes all at once, such as going out on a long day somewhere new, may simply be far too overwhelming for some children. Although lots of preparation and explaining and showing them pictures or websites of where you're going can really help. Transitions can also be a source of huge anxiety. If they've become very absorbed in something that they're thoroughly enjoying, to have to leave it to do something else can be very hard on them. Not only will they find the whole aspect of changing activity hard, but they may feel bereft and not have a real understanding of when they'll next get a chance to do this again. For instance, one area of real difficulty for many families can be about finishing a session on an iPad or a similar device. An iPad is something that many children use to self-regulate or to tune out the world around them. They can feel very safe and in control when using them, and the idea of having to turn it off can make them feel very vulnerable and frightened. A lot of our children tend to live in the now, and they won't necessarily understand that they will get their iPad back again, perhaps after dinner or when they're home from visiting Granny or whatever. So it really can help to tell them exactly when they'll get it back and then stick to it. If you have a visual timetable, it can also be helpful to include iPad sessions so that the child will see easily when they're going to be able to spend time on their device. Otherwise, they may panic and not understand when it will be returned, or even if they'll ever get it back at all. With transitions, the other thing that can help is to give lots of notice, countdowns or timers, letting a child know that they've got 10 more minutes before the end of a session, then 5 more, then 3, then 1 more minute, and finally that the session time is up, can really help our children process what's going on, and it helps to soften that change and make it much easier for them. So, 2 main tips here. Always make sure your child knows when they'll next be able to do whatever it is that they're finishing now. And secondly, always give your child lots of warning that the time's nearly up. Hope that helps. See you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.